Welcome into Locked On Phillies. In today's episode, the Philadelphia Phillies sweep out the St. Louis Cardinals, and it was just a banner weekend for your fighting skins. They set a record for home runs, and Aaron Nola looks awesome. Zach Wheeler looks awesome. All of that great stuff you saw at Citizens Bank Park this weekend. We'll get into it. You have the Angels coming in, a team that's available as well. Can the Phillies stay hot? And plus, we've got all the poll results as well. I mean, so much to get into. Packed up, Locked On Phillies. Please, let's get going.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Philly. I'm Connor Thomas, your host. Thank you so much for checking us out. Locked On, part of the Locked On podcast. We're your team every day. You can hear some of my other content on 97.5 The Fanatic on the radio, Sports Philadelphia on the television side. Credentialed Philadelphia Phillies media member. My second year as your host of Locked On Phillies. Please make sure you're rating, subscribing to the YouTube. Liking and commenting wherever your podcast, all that interaction significantly helps us here at Locked On. So I appreciate anyone who's already done that. And if you enjoy Locked On Philly, please feel free to do that. I really do appreciate it. It's a great time to jump in on Phillies because the Phillies are hot right now. We're heading down the stretch for a push. You're going to want to be updating all the information and all my thoughts and opinions on what's on with Philadelphia Phillies. And they're all good ones. So why don't we go ahead and jump right into what was an awesome weekend for Philadelphia Phillies. Like absolutely incredible. The series against Cardinals couldn't have gone better. I don't know where to start with this one, so I guess we'll start from the beginning. Friday night. The Phillies take on the Cardinals in Game 1, and it's 7-2. Now, I put together an episode for you as well on was it? Yeah, it was Friday, where I was talking about the change in where the Philadelphia Phillies are and how we might take this a little bit for granted, or maybe might have said that on the radio. I'm not done that here on the podcast, but one thing you notice from how the Philadelphia Phillies are playing the Cardinals is it's just been a huge turnaround in a bad direction for the St. Louis Cardinals. And I think people don't realize how hard it is to just be competitive every year. Cardinals have done it for so long. Next thing you know, they're the bottom of the NL, and they look like bottom feeders and swept out by the Philadelphia Phillies. Meanwhile, the Phillies firmly in playoff position and everything like that. So I think we should be a little bit more grateful how well the Phillies played this really slow start against year, very similar to what happened last season. We hope the playoffs are similar as well. But in Game 1, you have Christopher Sanchez on against Mikolas. Phillies win 7-2. You got a great offensive performance. It started off kind of slow. Paul had a home run early, and the Phillies go 2-0. But then every other run in the game was Phillies. Kyle Schwarber hit a home run. Alec Boehm hit a home run. Kyle Schwarber had another guy. I mean, Schwarber's hot lately, and this weekend he's been really cooking. He handled the Cardinals very well. It was a solid performance for Christopher Sanchez, who stepped in after having a rough first inning. The offense comes through. I mean, it just looked great. J.J. got a little bit of time off, and it just all worked out perfectly. 7-2, nothing all that crazy in that game against the Cardinals. I mean, Saturday was the same, right? 12-1, the Philadelphia Phillies take down the St. Louis Cardinals in Saturday's game. They didn't give up a rush inning, which is just nice because they've been doing that consistently, but they still give up the front of the ball game. First inning scoreless. Third inning, Cardinals get one, and then the Phillies answer with two in the bottom of the third, and then they would score in every other besides the bottom of the eighth that they would hit. They wouldn't in the bottom of the ninth because they'd be up by so much, but they'd score two in the bottom of the third. A Trey Turner grounded into the double play, which got an RBI there, and Bryce Harper had an RBI single, scoring JK. Then all that happened, Stott homers in the fourth, Harper RBI single in the fifth, Alec Boehm sacrifice fly in the sixth. In the seventh, Nick Castellanos homers, Brandon Marsh homers, back-to-back. Well, no, not back-to-back. 2 3-run home runs in the same inning. Really helped, and now you had to start coming out for the those Cardinals. But still, it was just a situation where the Phillies hung it on the those Cardinals and really ran it up, and the offense started to look amazing. You're like, wow, they've hit a lot of home runs lately, and they're really starting to drive the ball, and people are starting to figure it out. I mean, Bryce Harper's looking like the pop back. Kyle Schwarber's hit the ball out of the yard consistently. Nick Castellanos is back to his all-star form. Brandon Marsh showed off some pop. Bryson Stott showed off some pop. Alec Bowman showing off some pop into the series. You're like, oh, wow, we feel good. 12-1. And also, maybe most impressive in that start, I know the offense great. Zach Wheeler's final one. I mean, just listen to this on box score. Wheeler goes 7 innings pitch. She only allows one run, no walks, 10 strikeouts. And the only reason the home runs he gave up a home run in the top of the third, but that's fine. I mean, that's an awesome start by Zach Wheeler. If he gives you that type of start in the postseason, the Phillies are going to be a near possible team to get out, especially with the way this off is going right now. And it's nice to see Zach Wheeler regain the form that we know he can have when he's at his best. But the stage was set for more disappointment, right? You had Aaron Nola going Sunday in a closeout game where you're looking for a sweep, and it seems like as consistent as Aaron Nola is, he's consistent in one thing over the course of the past couple seasons. If you have a final game of a series, you either need to avoid sweep or you need to sweep. Aaron Nola is going to lose that game. Like, he just does not have the kind of stopgap mentality type thing. I don't even know how to describe it. He's just not in that particular situation. It's wild, but it's true. And what does he do yesterday? But he comes out and he throws a gem, one of his best of the year here. Just absolutely beautiful performance. He goes 7 innings, 1 hit, no runs, none earned, 1 walk, 9K. I mean, he betters Wheeler's performance. Wheeler allowed 3 hits, home run. Nola allowed only 1 hit and no run, 1 walk, 9 strikeout. Just such a clean performance by him. The fastball working, the breaker was working. Like, everything looked so good. The contact that he induced, it was one of the beautiful pitching performances of the season for the Philadelphia Phillies. And the offense did just enough to get it done. He is not exactly most encouraging, especially considering how bad the Cardinals starter was in Rom, but Kyle Schwarber hit a home run on the first pitch. Like I said, Schwarber's hot. Trey Turner had a sacrifice fly left field, scoring Rojas, and then Bryce Harper, RBI left, scoring Trey Turner. And I brought up, it was either earlier in the week or last week, I brought up the Trey Turner. I'm saying earlier this week before or to go rather, I should say, but brought up the whole Trey Turner Bryce Harper combination with them batting like 2 and 3 or 4. Right. It's just having Trey Turner on base for Bryce Harper is amazing. Trey Turner gets on base a lot when he's going good. He's going good right now. Now it just turns into unstoppable force. You score like so often when those two guys are to each other in the lineup, and we're really starting to see the true power of it. I don't know what more you could have wanted to see for this weekend. The pitching looked great. The offense looked great. Cardinals stink, and that's the other thing. The Cardinals stink. They're a last place team, one of the worst teams in baseball this year. I don't know how they truly got there. Like, I really don't, but they have gotten there. So it's exactly a hang your hat on that team you beat type of performance. But it is a sweep. The Philadelphia Phillies haven't swept anyone in months. It hasn't been just like July that they saw one. So I feel really good about what the Philadelphia Phillies put together this weekend. And now you got an opportunity tonight to stay hot. The Phillies taking the Angels. They got the Angels coming in. 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the time of first pitch for this one. Shohei Ohtani he's going to be hitting. He can't pitch with the tear in his UCL, but he has been hitting. So you'll most likely see him in the lineup hitting for the Angels, and it's going to be worth catching. So go to the SiriusXM app and insert Phillies, and you'll be able to pull up the whole hometown round radio broadcast of tonight's match. I mean, the Phillies and the Angels. Again, just go to the app and search Phillies. Be able to get that done. So check out our friend over at Sirius. You're not going to want to miss the game tonight and coming up. We're going to preview this series with the Angels and specifically tonight's game and talk about how the Phillies can stay hot. And are we looking at maybe another sweep? Maybe another series? Well, it should be a series, and I'll tell you why coming up as we continue today's Locked On Phillies. First, though, I want to tell you about friends over at Dave. All right, so what happens, right? Finances in life. I don't know this. I don't know if you know money works. It's difficult to keep your finances in order. Yeah, if it was easy to be a mayor, billionaire, trillionaire, everybody would do it. No, it's hard when life gets away and bills and credit cards and all this stuff. Hard to make sure your money is where you want to be. One of the great difficulties of life. Finances are a burden for a lot of people. And one timer, we all need a little financial. That's why Dave's great. Dave can get you cash when you need a hand between paychecks and can help you build credit by settling extra cash on time. I mean, if you need cash, you need a way to do it where it's not going to crush your credit or anything like that, and you're not going to go out and get like a huge personal loan or anything like that. Dave is the way to do it. Dave's the bank that's leveling the final playing field. When you download Dave, you get up to $500 in five minutes, or no credit check, no late fees, none of that. It's part of Dave's extra cash account advance, the money you need, no interest, and you settle up later. Extra cash gives you more money to groceries, fill your tank, finally get your car repaired, catch up on bills, that stuff without having to wait for your paycheck. And you can even credit when you settle up on time. Millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app to make their finances easier. So if you're in a pinch, get the help you need by downloading Dave. Download Dave today at dave.com/MLB. It's dave.com/MLB. And get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit check, no late fees. Honestly, like let's say you live in a building and your landlord is coming up the elevator. Jump on now. It's so quick. Dave can help you. You might have the money by the time they get up to your room, depending on the floor you're on or anything like that. It's an example, but again, you can get your money fast and easy. So to download the Dave app now, or go to dave.com/ML. Sorry, by the way, for terms, you can go to dave.com/eligibility criteria and instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided involve member FDIC. Sorry, hold down. Far that is on me, but yes, shout out again to our friends at Dave, and shout out to the Philadelphia for what they did this weekend. They'll take on the Cardinals. Saying Angels and Angels for Cardinals. I don't know why I'm doing that. Take on the Angels. They just took on the Cardinals and swept them out. But take on the Angels at 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight at Citizens Park, the final series of a 3-series homestand, 9-game homestand, and the Phillies have been doing really well. They've won 5 of the first 6 of this homestand, so I feel about them and how they've been playing. You can listen to every pitch of tonight's game on the Sirius XM app. Just go to the SX and search Phillies, and you'll be able to hear the whole Phillies on radio broadcast of the game. So go ahead and check them out. But yes, the Angels come to town. And I brought up an earlier episode that we did last week about how Shohei Ohtani's injury is interesting, because it could mean the Phillies don't have to face him, and it could change his off-season and everything. Well, it will choose off-season signing if you recover from Tommy John surgery and all that stuff. But bottom line, that second part is true. The first part did not work out. Shohei Ohtani is not pitching, but he has been hitting pretty darn well. And until most likely be in the lineup for games between the Phillies and the Los Angeles Angels. So you have that to deal with. You got to go ahead and pitch around one of the best players in baseball. Now the good news, the Phillies are -1.5 on the money line. They've got a 60.7% chance, according to ESPN Analytics. And the pitching matchup is very much in the Phillies' favor, despite the guy on the mound for the Angels being someone that looked like a star acquisition at the all-break. Or at the trade line, I should say. But you still got to worry about Ohtani. We'll get pitching matchup in a second. Listen to these numbers, right? The batting leaders for both teams. Kyle Schwarber's leading the Phillies with 36 home runs. He's going to hit over 40 again. He might be the first player in Major League Baseball history to hit 40 home runs and have a negative. One of the weirdest seasons of all time, but he's hitting the ball at the yard in bunches. Very good to have Schwarber as a member of the Phillies round. But Shohei Ohtani has 44 home runs. Could you imagine if Ford hit eight more runs so far this year? Oh, by the way, Shohei Ohtani also leads the Angels inning average. He's batting 305. Unbelievable. Bryce Harper's batting 306. Could you imagine, like home runs in Schwarber, nearly as good of an average as Harper. Schwarber's 84 RBI. Ohtani's almost at 100 already. He's got 92 too. He's got RBIs and 8 homers than Kyle Schwarber, and it's the same average as Bryce Harper. I mean, this guy's just a stone cold killer. I might walk him every single time the Philadelphia Phillies. Like, legitimately, might just on base every single time, because no one else on the same team is really going to hurt you. Mike Trout is probably done for the year. This team's heading for the playoffs. They've down and died since they went to the to the buyer's market, not the seller's market at trade, which I think was not a prudent move by them. But they felt so, and then they fell apart. Welcome to Los Angeles Angels baseball, ladies and gentlemen. But they went out and they got Lucas Giolito, who's going to take them for them, among other players. And Giolito has not been good. This year, his rate 7-10, 3.2 ERA, 1.27 WHIP, and 148 innings pitched. He's facing off its Taijuan Walker. 13 wins on the season, 5 with a 4.0 ERA, better than Giolito, a 1.29 WHIP, 0.002 higher than Giolito, so comparable. And 132 thirds innings pitched. He's got 113 strikeouts. Giolito now has 159 Ks and 148 innings. So you're going to have to avoid the strikeout. He does have strikeout stuff, but 53 walks for Giolito, 57 for Walker. Here's the big difference, right? Lucas Giolito has been, do I want to call him Aaron light? I guess so. He's given up 27 home runs, 148 innings pitched. He cannot keep the ball in the yard. And I mean, he's going to come to Citizens Bank Park and face a Phillies team that's hitting the ball out left and right now. It's super hot at the plate for the Philadelphia Phillies. Giolito, a guy that could be a gas can when it comes to the long ball. I mean, I see ESPN analytics have said is way in the favor of the Phillies. This seems like a great opportunity for the Phillies fans to get going. You're going to have to expect a great start from Taijuan Walker and battle. And again, avoid Ohtani. But yes, a really good opportunity for the Philadelphia Phillies to take on Los Angeles Angels and come out with a win. And it would be their sixth win in 7 games if they were able to do so. That's awesome. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper, by the way, when this series is over with the Angels, because it's their final series of the month, into that home run record that the Philadelphia Phillies already eclipsed. Aaron Nola, by the way, another record this week. There's so much to get into from this weekend that's even mentioned all in one podcast. But Aaron Nola catches Kurt Schilling. I forget if he passed him or if he just tied him. But anyway, for fifth all time in these all-time strikeout leaders, the Nola thing's weird. Maybe later on they're going to have an off day, and I'm going back into the Nola thing. And jump in on the discussion about trust and postseason that we times had a great starts weekend. We'll have that deeper discussion, get into that there. So it's a little bit teasing in future episodes, but yes, a great opportunity against the Angels. More information on this weekend to come. Bottom line, the Phillies are playing such darn good baseball and had such a productive weekend that it's hard to even keep track of everything. No, that this team's really figuring it out right now. Now, if we can carry this through the month of September, or I guess the rest of August. Let's get through this first, right? But then to September, heading into the postseason, who knows where their ceiling is? This feels like these types of stretches are what makes this team feel even compared to last team. So we'll see. Yeah, 3 games against the Angels. But again, one more time, I'll let you know. First pitch of game 1 at 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can listen to every pitch of the Phillies hometown radio broadcast of that game on the Sirius app. Just go to the app and search Phillies, and you'll be able everything up there to check that out. Coming up, we're going to talk the poll. I had an off the poll question from Friday about the wild card match. The Phillies feeling good about that in the wild card stands right now. Who did you want to see him play? We'll jump into your responses, and I'll share my thought as we wrap up today's episode of Locked On Phillies. All right, I want to talk about my friends over at Sleeper. Let me get the information up there. You can see at the bottom of the screen on YouTube. Do you think, Kyle Schwarber can hit his 37th home run of the year tonight off of Lucas Giolito? Giolito up, a lot of home runs this year, 27 to be exact. I sure think someone's going to get him. And on Sleep, you can swing for the fence 100 times payouts. That's all you have to do is choose 2 or more players. Maybe throw Bryce Harper in there as well. Maybe Giolito breaks out and you think he can run hits. Pick guys you like, select more or less on their stat categories, like home runs, strikeouts, hits, all that stuff. Get your picks right, and you can win big. It's a super easy app to use. Basically, you're just going to scroll through and pick a player here. You're going to prop. You're going to pick the over/under. It's really that simple. You can go up to 8 players, and it takes like 20 seconds to put in your picks. It's super easy to go. And something new that they've introduced recently, dynamic payout on Sleep. So what that basically means, it's like odds, right? It's the daily fantasy app, but you need a multiplier to help you win more money than you would even normally win on like getting all 8 players correct. Basically, if you had picked Garrett Stubbs to hit home, I'm sure there'd be a big multiplier because it's not as dynamic payout. basically just have a player projection to tell you, oh, this is less likely, you'd win more money if it came correct. And then you could go with shorter types of picks. You wouldn't have to pick 8 players to make the money too. You might only have to pick like 3 if it's the right decision, right stat to use and everything like that. So super easy to use. You understand how it works. It's a great way to get up to 100 times your money. I mean, how nice does that sound? And you can use promo code locked on. Get up to a $100 match first deposit. So you're already getting basically your amount of money that you put down. You get $100 if you put down 100. If you put down 50, you get all that good stuff on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. These Sleeper terms are used for details currently operational in over 30 states. So check out Sleeper today. All right, it's time for off the poll. Not familiar how off poll works. It's a segment where I post a Twitter poll question from Lock Phillies on Twitter. It's LO_Phillies is the handle, and the weekend to answer, and then I go ahead and get after it. I'll read you the response and I'll share my thoughts on who you'd prefer. Now, this is who you'd prefer Philadelphia Phillies to play in the postseason, not necessarily who you gets the most realistic that they play. I'm going to ask the question. Maybe do that this next Friday. I don't know. You'll have to tune in to Friday's episode to find out. But who would you most like to or you prefer the Phillies play postseason? Would be the question, and that was that. A lot of response on this one. Thank you so much for chiming in. I'm going to go in reverse on this one because I kind of backdoored it a little bit on what I was looking for in this poll. Yes, it tells you who you want to play, which also tells you you least want to play. So both sides of the coin here are important. The winner of the poll, 43% of the San Francisco Giants. By the way, the options were the 4 closest wildcard teams at the time of the poll. So Giants, Red, Diamondbacks, Cubs. The 4 options. 43% picked the San Francisco Giants. Now I get that. You just recently played the Giants or the Phillies. It looked like they were not repetitive, even though they won the final game of the series. It still took them the extras to do that. The Giants did not look competitive to the Phillies coming in. If they had to come to Citizens Bank Park in October, the Phils win the series. I agree. They're probably the number 1 team I'd want to face out of those 4 because they're not as good as they looked for like the past month there when they're hanging around that second wild card spot. 24% of you picked the Cincinnati Reds. So that's second easiest team compared to what the people are feeling and the wild card teams you could face. So the Reds, a young team. I think we don't truly give them enough credit. We haven't seen the Phillies or Reds in a minute. We're not seeing them for the rest of the year unless they're in a wild card matchup or a playoff matchup at some point. But the Reds are sneaky good and young, and that makes them a little bit dangerous. But I don't. They're prepared to come into Citizens Bank Park and play. And if the Phillies had to go to Cincinnati to play, I just don't think they're ready. They get in. I don't think they're ready to compete once they do get in. They're still young. Like even last year when the Phillies got in and were surprising, they had veteran players. They just didn't have veteran players with playoff experience. They're just like young players in general. And they're going to be a solid team in the Central for a little bit now. They got a lot of awesome young players, but I don't think they're yet. 20% said the Chicago Cubs. That third place answer. And yeah, I would say the Cubs would be a tougher matchup than the Cincinnati Reds. I honestly think the Cubs might be the toughest matchup. See, I look at Chicago's a tough place to play if to go there with the weather and everything. I look at that team being led by like Dansby Swanson, who is a World Series champion, has been there before, and they have some more veteran players and everything like that than the other teams in the wild card that you're looking at, or competitive teams in the wild. So I'm not exactly trying to play the Cubs, but only 13% of you picked the Arizona Diamondbacks. That is the most feared team for Phillies right now, according to this poll. And you got Carroll, he's a problem. Zach Gallen, who's probably going to win the Cy Young in the National League. You got a couple other people vying for it as well to see, will Blake Snell find a way to undo Zach Gallen? Maybe those two really 1-2 right in the race, but Zach Gallen's unbelievable. He could steal a game on his own. Corbin Carroll's a problem. It felt like when you played him out in Arizona, even though you won 3 of 4 in that series out there on the road, that team is competitive. They're young, but they're also super talented. I get why you guys don't want to play the Diamondbacks. I'd probably pick the slightly over them, but those teams, I mean, not looking forward to going anywhere to playing them. It would be nice if it was the Reds or the Giants who ends up sneaking into the second wild card spot. But if any of those teams have to come to Philly, you'll take your chances, especially the way this team's playing right. That's all for today's episode on Phillies. Thank you so much for this out. Make sure you're rating, subscribing to the YouTube, all that great stuff. Lock Phillies, part of the Locked On Podcast. We're your team every day. Got to run. Phillies Angels tonight. Hopefully another win, and we'll talk to you tomorrow about it and talk about the rest of the series and a whole bunch of other stuff on the next episode of Locked On Phillies. But that's all for today, for episode. So I'll talk to you next time.